Studies show that social isolation and loneliness are two important contributing factors when it comes to cardiovascular disease. And this morning we want to delve deeper into this subject with cardiologist Dr. Shoba. Good morning, Dr. Shoba. How are you?
Good morning.
You know, isolation, loneliness, I think we're coming out of COVID, I think a lot of folks had to deal a lot with that during the past 2 to 3 years.
Yes, loneliness is not a new concept. It's been there for years, but it really came to a head during the COVID times. In fact, the Surgeon General recently came out with a big document on loneliness this month, and it's considered an epidemic in the US, and I think it's probably global and a pandemic right now.
And there's a lot of folks, say loneliness, self-isolation, same thing. There's really some differences there.
There is really some difference because when you're lonely, you're not, it's more of an emotional, you're feeling sad because you don't have the positive connections that you need with people around you. You can be lonely and alone even though you're with a bunch of people. For example, a first grader could be lonely even though he's in class because he's not able to communicate. So could a freshman. So could a person, they could be at work, but they still feel lonely. They are lonely even though they're not alone. So there is a concept difference there.
And social isolation is just, like some people during COVID, they just completely were cut off from all human interaction to a degree, and that is definitely detrimental to your health.
That is true, and many of them try to keep up with technology, phones, but you're just scrolling through media, you're not really communicating with people on a personal level, you're still lonely. And so, loneliness affects not only just the heart, it affects our mind, body, and eats at our soul. In fact, studies have shown that loneliness can cause as much damage to our body as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and so loneliness can cause about almost a 30% increase in heart disease and stroke, almost a 50% increase in risk of dementia. It can cause depression, increased suicide risk, high blood pressure, your blood sugars may go out of control. It can cause depression, anxiety. If you have heart failure, you don't get better quickly. You keep going back into the hospital with recurrent admissions. You have a risk of dying early. If you have a heart attack, you may not seek recourse early, die prematurely from a heart attack. So loneliness does a lot of bad things to us.
And you mentioned a lot of things there, but it's basically your health from head to toe. It can be affected by this. Oh
yes, and loneliness can cause bad hormones to build up in our system, that affect our body, but also it can promote bad habits. You may not eat right, you may not seek health care appropriately and in a timely fashion, you may not exercise. And so I think what's important is you bond with your family, you bond with your friends, you bond with your people at work, you bond with people at church. You not only do something for yourself, but you do something for others. So, serving others, volunteering can pull you out of loneliness. There's a lot of trust issues these days. People don't know how to make connections. They don't know who to trust. They feel judged. Some people are just very reclusive, want to stay alone. I think it's important for us as a community to say, hey, you're withdrawing too much. Let's see what we can do. Maybe draw them back in. Maybe let's go to Marion or let's go to Abingdon for Memorial Day. Have a fun time. And so I think we as a community can help people who are lonely, identify people who are lonely, and we need to ourselves prevent us from having a shell around us and allow people to help us.
All right, very good. Dr. Shoba, thank you. Encouraging words there at the end. But if you know someone, help them. And if you want to find out more about this study that we're talking about today, go to heart.org. We'll be back with more Daytime coming up.